What's going on, guys? It's Jake. So I pretty much woke up this morning to pictures of possibly leaked new Beyblades. Okay, so Balto MS actually sent me pictures of what looked to be leaks, like leaked prototypes for new Beyblades, and the source was apparently unconfirmed. And then I heard that the source tweet may have been deleted, so I don't even know. Before we get into the news though, if we could hit 500 likes on this video, that would be amazing, because we're about to see possibly a crazy rework of the GT system, and I really like it so far. So let's just get right into it. So the first picture that we're going to be looking at looks to be a new Valkyrie, but I don't think it is. It looks the most prototype-y versus all the other pictures that we have. A lot of the colors don't mix together, but there looks to be 3 sections here because there's 3 different pieces with different color schemes. So in order to color those separately, that means they're separate pieces. Starting off, we have the gold Valkyrie chip, and this looks to be very similar to the Valkyrie that we got from Beyblade Burst GT. But it is a little bit different, so it could be the new Valkyrie chip. It could also be just a kind of a prototype Valkyrie that they have for right now. I don't really know which it could be. Also, there is that middle section of the chip, and that looks pretty different compared to GT BEYS, because it looks to be part of the actual chip itself, kind of like how Hasbro's Rise works a little bit, instead of the layer weight poking through, but that's just the way it looks as of right now. Next up, we have the layer base, and it's all white in the picture, and it looks more aggressive, but it doesn't really look like an attack type to me for some reason. It looks more balanced type, but if it's an attack, I wouldn't be surprised. And then finally, there is this bronze piece, and at first glance, it kind of looks like it's a new part of like a layer, so maybe we have a 3-part layer system, but I actually think it's the disc, which I'll get into a little bit later. But let's move on to the next picture. So this one looks to be like a limited black and silver version of a Bey, and first glance, it looks really cool. Like I said, it's probably a limited edition, so it's going to be pretty hard to get. Also, I'm not 100% sure, but it looks like the layer base is just a little bit different than the one that we saw on that last picture. What is definitely different though is the chip. And this actually matches a tease that we got from Takara Tomy a little bit earlier in the year. And this actually matches that, but the color is different. And here is the comparison, but if you look closely, you can see the spikes and kind of like the flame looking design definitely match up, and that just makes this leak seem even more real and more true. And I want you to look at the picture really quick and remember, like, there's 4 sections. There's 2 on the top, 2 on the bottom of the Bey that are like these little metal strips, or at least they look like metal. Remember that. Keep that in the back of your mind. Next up, we have what looks to be packaging kind of from a new set, because we have a launcher in its plastic wrap along with the new driver, a new disc, and new layer. So could it be from a set? Maybe. First up, we're going to look at the launcher, and we have a string launcher here, and this looks really different from any other string launcher we've had before. Maybe it'll be reworked a little bit, maybe have a longer string, or just be more powerful. That'd be pretty cool. Or they could just be making it look different, just to have it look different. But I like this design. I think it looks really interesting. I don't really use regular string launchers. I only use LR launchers, so it'd be nice to get some new string launchers in here. That'd be pretty cool. Next up, we have the driver, and this one looks pretty interesting. It is in this blue color, and it also looks like it has 2 separate sections, or at least it thins out kind of like an hourglass right in the middle. Maybe this means that the Bey will be kind of unbalanced and wobble around, but it'll maybe have good smash attack. It kind of reminds me of Volcanic a little bit, so maybe it'll be like that. And then we can move on to the disc. Now, this is the part that I said I wanted you guys to remember. Remember those little metal sections, or what looked like metal at the top and kind of bottom of the Bey, and on that black and silver one, kind of right where the layer weights would be. If you zoom in really closely to the layer, and I'll have a picture of it, it has that same thing, except it's blue. While it's silver on one, it is blue on the other. And we are able to see those parts of the actual disc feed into the layer. So does this mean that the discs are going to combine into the layer and kind of replace the need for layer weights? So what this means to me is that it looks like the layer base and the disc are going to combine into like one major section, and all that connects to the driver. So this also means that you may not be able to use older discs if they design the layers that way, which could be pretty bad for really bad actually for customization, because these new layers, you can only use them with the new discs. But if it doesn't turn out that way, cool. But if it does, we have a whole redesign to burst bays pretty much. And then moving on from those blue little tabs, what makes me kind of think that you feed the disc into the layer a little bit more is that if you look at the actual middle part of the disc, typically discs are hollow, like there's nothing right in the middle, and that's so the driver can feed through and connect to the teeth. It looks like there's actually something there this time, so I'm just gonna, it's a shot, you know, it's probably not going to be true, or it might not be true, but it looks like you're going to be able to feed the layer portion into the disc and then connect that to the driver in a way that we have never seen before. And it makes the discs kind of part of the layer itself now, instead of a whole separate part. And then moving on to the actual layer portion, it looks like we have two pieces of the layer here, but they just don't look nearly as bulky as GT layer bases look. Also, the layer base portion, not the chip, this is different than the other two, or other one. I still don't know if those are the same one or not. This one is more round in design, and I don't know if it's silver paint or it's little bits of metal stuck onto the layer base. That'd be pretty cool, because the metal wouldn't really add too much weight, I don't think, but it would make it a little bit more viable, I guess. But there is a section, kind of like a middle bridge section, where you can connect the chip, just like we had for the GT system, except it looks like they just kind of cut away the parts where the weight would go, and instead we have a section where the disc would go. So weights are gone, but discs being used in layers, that looks to be the new move. And then we have one last picture, and this one doesn't really reveal anything new. It's just kind of like a collection of 3 bays together. One of them being Savai Bahamut, which is a limited bay that we had a little while ago that's already been out. But we have, you know, that Valkyrie, and then the limited black bay kind of right there. So I just wanted to show that as well. So as a final summary, what do I think? Overall, there is a lot to see here, and a lot that we still need to see before we kind of assume how the system is going to work. But I am pretty strong on my stance on how it looks like these bays are going to work. As a little summary, once again, we have a GT-like chip that goes onto a thinner layer base than we've had for GT, but the discs are a lot thicker, a lot heavier, and those feed on to the layer bases in a way that we've never seen before. Also in a way that may make these new bays not work with old discs. And then the driver looks the exact same as like other stuff. There doesn't look to be anything crazy going on there, but who knows? And that's going to wrap up this episode of Nook News. If you enjoyed, let me know in the comments down below. Hit that like button. We're trying to get this video up to 500 likes. And if you have not subscribed, hit that subscribe button to join the Nook Nation. We're getting really close to 250,000 subscribers. So I'll see you guys in the next time. What? I will see you guys in the next time. Okay then. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have fun and bay away.